Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ServiceMonster podcast. I am your host, Joe Kowalski, and today I'm kind of excited. We're bringing Michael on board, and what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up our latest experience in setting up a very big marketing event. And relate that to you, the service provider. So it kind of gives you a taste for, wow, how could I set one of these up? How could I benefit from it? How could I bring a draw of my local demographic and actually capitalize on getting my brand out there? It's more complicated than you think. But of course, not a lot of people are doing it. So I imagine they run into that pretty quickly. But before we do any of that, a little bit of housekeeping. Michael, what do we have for today?
We're just going to go back over the webinar. August 15th for everything. All the big changes, all of the exciting new features, the new schedule, the new app.
Inventory, closeout wizards.
Yeah,
I mean, we could riff off of each other for a long time. We did a release today. What is the date today?
Today is the 26th.
Right. So you guys will be listening to this next week.
Yeah.
But as of the 26th, the big beastly 240 tracker version has been launched. They pushed it through yesterday, did a rollback, pushed it through a little later today. So hoorah to the engineering team for, saying, no, damn it, it's going out today. And then we had a couple little minor things with a couple clients that we've, gotten cleaned up, and they're rolling. So very excited about that. So that gives us pretty much on the ServiceMonster 6 front everything we needed. And then as far as mobile on the app front, beta's out, and it's being used by like 40, 50 people. And it took a while, 3 days. I was a little scared, but then massive amounts of positive feedback. It was a beta, so there was a handful of issues that we probably should address, but nothing catastrophic. And lots and lots of positive feedback about how clean it is and so forth. So we're going to be going over all of that and all the new changes in the webinar, August 15th, 5 o'clock Pacific. I will host, and we'll have a number of ServiceMonster users, I hear, on the chat channels. We'll do some live Facebook streaming. Everybody's going to have shirts on. So we're going to make a thing of it. 5 o'clock Pacific, August 15th. Be there. Link in the comments.
And just to clarify, there are prizes.
There are prizes. Why would you want to come? ServiceMonster? No, prizes. Yay!
Prizes, winning. So just real quick, what we're giving away, it's on the webinar webpage, which will be in the link or in the description, like you said. We're going to be giving away 2 prizes for current ServiceMonster users, and that is a $250 credit towards our Fill My Schedule program. Which is quite a bit. Good way to get started with Fill My Schedule if you haven't used it already.
And if you're using it, maybe it's a couple months of free.
Yeah, right. It just gives you some free Fill My Schedule credit. That's right. It's amazing. And then if you don't use ServiceMonster yet, we're actually going to be giving away 2 year-long free ServiceMonster subscriptions.
All yours.
Yep. Whole entire year free.
Of Enterprise.
Yeah. The top one.
That's right.
The expensive one. Well,
that's
not
right.
expensive, but the most expensive one.
There you go.
You must be present in the webinar to win. So you have to actually register and be there. We'll be verifying. So no sneaky things going on. So that's that. The huge convention, 8th and 9th of August. So that's coming up here in like a week and a half.
Net
and Skylar are going to be going to that. Pressure washers and window cleaners.
Come say hi. They'll be at the booth.
We're giving away a couple prizes there too. I think we're doing 2 6-month free subscriptions there.
That's true.
For people at the convention. We'll be hanging out.
Notice we don't
stuff.
Discount. Like, we give away prizes to entice. We don't like coupon shop the 20% off for life or any of that kind of bullshit. So just a pricing lesson.
Yeah, it's just really easy. Just free for this amount of time.
That's right.
It's great. We covered beta for mobile out, the new release. Do you want to talk more about the new release? Kind of some of the completion wizard inventory.
The new schedule that went into beta.
Do you want to cover some of that? 'Cause we can.
Come see us at the webinar.
Oh, okay. We'll wait for the webinar.
We'll do it that way.
Yeah,
that's right.
But a lot of exciting things happen.
Because I can show you there, right? And it's badass.
Yeah, it's some
so
real
good.
Cool stuff.
Yeah,
you'll notice that the branding has been updated on ServiceMonster 6.
Everywhere.
Users will know that we'll see the login page, and the app itself has the new logo.
So wait, I do want to point something out. that the Monster has been beloved for over a decade.
It's right there.
It's right there.
Yep.
And we have retired him. And there are a handful of people, both inside the company and our clients, who are sad. They're not a fan. That's a no from me, dog. Like they're not with it. So let's take a moment of silence for the beast. That's enough silence.
It's enough silence for the Monster.
That's right.
Who knows? Maybe we'll bring him back in some way in the future and something
but
fun.
He'll never be the logo.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
moving on with the times.
The evolution of the company.
That's right.
The Monster did so much for us.
Sticky.
Yep. So that's it's the end of an era, but the beginning of a lot of new, exciting, awesome changes.
So much. Come see us at the webinar.
Yeah, webinar. All right, so SMUG has been full of beta stuff. So in terms of not beta stuff,
move all that aside, right?
Yeah, we're not talking about any of that. So there was one. Tim brought up a really good question a few weeks ago. He said, "Is there a way in ServiceMonster to determine our estimate closing percentage?" And a few days later, Brenda actually made a custom report,
right,
addressing that. It's the beginning of a process.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Because I think they chimed in with a request on the modification, which I had agreed with. So I don't know where we're at with that, but
yeah. All I know is that new report has been created. It is available for our users. It only works for initially created estimates that are then turned into invoices. So if
that's
start out the work order, right, it doesn't necessarily work, but we're at least moving in that direction of offering these types of really customizable reports for our users to give them the options that they want for reporting on employee stuff, commission. This one's like on a more is breaking down the numbers for each sales rep, like percent of estimates converted, number of invoices, total dollar count, average invoice, dollar amount, just all those kinds of things.
Nice.
Is there anything you wanted to say about that? I mean, that seems pretty. That's
Again, it's a process, right?
Yeah.
We're moving it forward. If you want some suggestions or have a report that you're excited for, if we can get enough love in SMUG for it, then Brenda can whip it up. If it's a one-off, if somebody's like, I really need this and it's just me and nobody else cares, then we can do those for you. There's a charge for that, but it gets kind of tedious creating forms and reports for everybody. You can do it yourself. I'll caution you though, you need to be a bit of not a developer, but certainly just not a basic internet user. Like if you don't know scripting or data structure, or if you're confused by those two words that I just said, you're not going to be able to create your own reports.
Don't go
Even in old software where they offered the full functionality in the product, here you have to download something else to then kind of manipulate it. It gets kind of tedious, but we have a couple people that do it though. Yeah. And for those people who really want to do it, just use the API.
Yep.
It's better anyway.
Yep. Way easier. That's it. In terms of SMUG posts,
because everything else
was beta. I mean, it's been slammed.
I would say 80% of it's just all positive feedback, and then the 20% is just pointing out those. Hey, how come I can't change the date on a payment? Right? Yep. Okay. Let's because we want simple.
Yep.
And then we let you make us widen it up a little bit instead of us coming in with, we'll just give them everything like Mobile 3 was. This is much slimmed down. The process flows are much tighter. We're hearing things like very clean, simple, easy to use. Hey, I processed my entire day in the field on day one. Keep that feedback coming too. And that's just from the beta group. So we've got a little cleanup to do and then production next week.
That's it. Production next week. Cool.
Production next week.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is interesting because I can say that in real time here, which means next week for us.
Yep.
But then when this airs and Justin posts it on Wednesday.
Oh, that's true.
If we've not met.
Could be the next week.
It could.
Yeah. There we go. I like that. There we go. That makes sense.
It's a strategy.
Sense. Yeah, it is a strategy. Definitely.
Time dilation.
Yes. But that's exciting. I think the beta process is interesting to see, especially with getting that type of feedback in SMUG of just seeing like, there's stuff that we miss. There's stuff, the user flows, processes that we wouldn't think about that people have. And then you see a couple people chime in of like, I totally do that. Or, oh yeah, I need that too. And it's like, oh, cool. This isn't just one person. This is multiple users.
Well, I think
who are all coming together and agreeing.
That's a good point. But for me, it's like, I think everybody's bought into the beta-ness of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're all like, ooh, like, okay. And everybody goes and contributes. So it's kind of like a dog pile effect, which I love because then we're getting the feedback. There's nothing worse than silence when we do something like this. It's like,
at first it was a little silent. We're like, is it good?
Yeah, right.
Is that good silence? Is that bad silence?
And then it like all flooded in.
Yeah.
So you know what, Eric and I were talking about it. I think partially what happened is self-inflicted wound with SM6, released a little too early on purpose, and then totally stumbled with Mobile 3. I mean, this is the product that we should have produced 3-4 years ago, but we weren't smart enough yet. We hadn't grown as a company. We hadn't figured out how to take our platform and make it accessible on a mobile device. We were just like, here's our product on mobile. And you're like, no, please make it stop.
And it will be stopped.
Yes, it will be stopped.
So soon.
August 15th.
So soon, yeah.
5 o'clock p.m. Pacific.
No more Mobile 3.
Well, we won't be careful now. Wow. We won't be killing Mobile 3, Mobile 2, Technician, or ServiceMonster 5 anytime soon. But we will be hiding them. Ideally, where we want to get with the schedule change and now the app is those two products in the wild. That's the public facing. When you're a brand new ServiceMonster user, that's what you should get. Yep. ServiceMonster 6 and the app.
Yep. It's just ServiceMonster on a computer, ServiceMonster on a phone. Simple.
Done.
Easy.
Simple.
Yep. That's the thing. ServiceMonster Simplified webinar. Yep.
Yep.
I don't know which camera to look at.
All of them.
One of them. There's two. Anyways, yeah. So the feature focus for today, really we're just going to be talking about change.
Yeah.
About this whole concept of change within a company, and how we've approached that from a marketing front, also internally with employees. You can talk more on that. Obviously, you'd have more insight on that than I would. But kind of we want to apply it back to a service business and how change within a company is good. That's exciting. It's great to be moving forward and to be evolving as a company. But what are the best ways to implement that on a marketing front internally? And just kind of see.
I must have misread your suggestion for the day because now I got to do a mental shift.
Well, we can talk about
what my thought was.
Well,
let me throw this out there.
What your thought was. Well, it's just a discussion anyway.
Sure. So here's where I thought kind of where you were coming from. How do we give them a marketing event, prep for it, execute it, and maybe some of the venues or topics that they can use to stir up a storm?
Okay. That was actually kind of part of it. Actually, I was going to talk about,
But you know what, for them, because this is about them, not us, let's focus on that. How do you create a marketing storm?
Yep.
Because you should be doing this on a fairly regular basis, not once a quarter, maybe once every 6 months at most. We do it like once every 2 years, where we'll do something big. I think now having 6 where I want it and the app where I want it, you might be seeing it a lot more.
Yep.
But the idea is this: and I can't point you in any direction because this is kind of just has evolved in something that we've done kind of as a pulse, and it just keeps getting bigger every time we do it. So it's, it didn't come from a book or a webinar or a session or another marketing guru. So I can't point you guys in a direction, but I can give you a little bit of insight. So the first thing you want to, if you're creating brand recognition in your local area already, and you're delivering value either via content or you're going to charity events or big events and you're doing hot dogs and, all those things that we've talked about. And if you're not familiar, go look at the Ask. We've got lots of videos on that stuff. If you're doing that, and every once in a while you can make it about you. Mm-hmm. So, we say it's about them, not us, but every once in a while you can make it about you. And if you do that, and if you're doing everything else right, and you do that, and you make it big, like you actually genuinely make changes in your company, you're adding new products and services, you're fundamentally changing your business process, you're updating your brand. Like these are just some examples, right? Maybe you've done a big hiring frenzy. Maybe you've hired like 4 people in the last month or 2, and you want to have, friends and family. Like you can, it takes some planning. But instead of just pushing the wand every day, booking the jobs every day, every once in a while running a Craigslist ad to bring in a new employee, you can fundamentally change your business in some way that's positive, and then use that as a growth mechanism and use that as a marketing bell.
Yep.
Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what we did with the logo change
right.
and everything. Is just kind of those updates, make those types of company changes a big deal. Don't just quietly necessarily do things like you're
Right.
saying,
But we didn't even create a whole like webinar package out of no, but it's part of
the big
one, the big one.
big thing.
So we then create this idea of the big thing, right? Okay, so lots of work. Like for ServiceMonsters, like this is 1.5 years, 2 years in the making while we were working on the app. And then as we were getting closer, we had to think about, okay, how are we going to launch this?
Yeah.
And then, a year in, it was like, scheduling, if we can smooth that out so our 5 users are happy in 6, that kind of just brings the whole thing together. So it all started culminating to this one point. And then as marketers, we can't sell on a promise, right? So we want to sell on what we currently have. But when we see something on the horizon, we start licking our chops.
Yep.
And so then it's a balancing act between when can I start talking about this and when is it going to be available? And so that's a whole other game to play. But something, if you're making big changes in your business, that equipment's got to come in, your training's got to be done, right? You got to make sure you've got collateral and that the marketing that you're going to do is going to have effect and have these new things on it, right? So you've got to start looking at that well ahead of time. And then as you do that, you can actually create pieces, content directing to that. So now you have something to talk about, tease out some of the changes that you're making in your company, and then what? It can be a what? It can be a webinar. It can be in your driveway, right? Friends and family type of a thing. It could be at your business, Customer Appreciation Day. You've got your vans out and they're all open. Come talk to me about my truck mounts and my, VLM and, my water-fed pole and like all that stuff, right? So you can make these events a thing. Now, if 10 people show up, that's okay. That's what smile on your face. It's 10 people and if 100 people show up, that's a lot of hot dogs. So again, I'm just throwing this as a seed. A service company could probably do, and I would guess this is spring, right? Right as the weather's breaking is probably the best time to do this. Especially for those cleaning companies, exterior cleaning, interior cleaning. It just makes a lot of sense. Customer Appreciation Day, where you've been for the last year focusing on a fundamental change that you're going to be rolling out as a result and as part of this target, and then creating content all the way up through. And how long before the event should they be marketing it?
I mean, it depends on what it is, but I mean, probably at least like 3 months, I'd say.
90 days is
90
nice.
days,
I would target 60 to 90.
60 to 90, yeah. I think we've definitely stuck within that 60 to 90 range.
We stick with 60 because I get the crazy ideas and I say go, and then we just put 60 days on.
Yeah, 60 days or less sometimes, but close to there. But
how fast did we whip up the symposium?
That was
crazy.
That was like. That might have been 60, or it was like
right. It was right around 60,
50 or something. Yeah. It was not a ton, because that was an example of actually a very big event for us. It was a big deal for us to put on the we
still did in 60 days.
Yeah, and it was a huge success. We were all just so pleasantly surprised with how well
we're not doing it again this year.
Well,
sorry,
got
guys.
a lot of other stuff going on.
We do. Maybe as we have more staff, it's something we'll look into it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we had that muscle, and that we could exercise it if we needed to. So it's just kind of a smoke test on how well we could put an event together. I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like next summer if things are slower, it's like we've had all these big changes we've made. ServiceMonster is changing a lot, and then we kind of can bring in more users, maybe have a much bigger symposium at that point. Who knows?
Sure.
We'll see. But that's a perfect example of...
Chemdry wants us to do one.
Well, we could do that too.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, that's the kind of things, those, like you're saying, Customer Appreciation Days for us. I mean, obviously people have to pay to go to it, but we also are appreciating our customers. We get to like talk with them. They get to see that ServiceMonster is not just this software on their computer or this app on their phone. It's like, it's us.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
Justin.
It totally is Justin.
ServiceMonster is Justin.
Yeah.
Greetings from the ServiceMonster headquarters. Hello, everyone out there.
I'm Service. It's like Monsters Inc., right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. No, it's exactly like that. To that end, we have an event tomorrow, which is going to be kind of fun. ServiceMonster Party, which is a good time right before the webinar. So all this stuff is coming together for us. Yep. And it's interesting when you create something like this, a change in your business that you're focused on that could be far out, right? 6 months out, and then you're 3 months out and you're starting to market. And then it's a great team building exercise, and it keeps the humdrum a little more exciting, especially in a business like your guys's, right? Because what do you do? Same shit day after day after day. You've got to make it exciting for the employees, exciting for. So how do you do that? You create chaos, man. As a CEO, you create fun chaos, and so I've kind of relished that role for the last couple of years. Yeah,
it's been fun, crazy, lots of stuff going on, but it's fun.
That's right.
It keeps things interesting. That's for sure. I guess that was in terms of applying it to a service business, applying this sort of company changes, whether it's an event or maybe like offering a new service. I think offering a new service is potentially one that I've actually been seeing a lot lately. I've been seeing a lot more businesses that are doing carpet cleaning and pressure washing and window cleaning. Before, it's usually been kind of one or the other. I've been seeing more and more on Instagram that are doing all of those things and also doing like decorative concrete work, seeing some of those, like kind of, I've seen a lot of businesses that are expanding their service offerings and doing some sort of event, having a big marketing push is what you need to do if you're kind of going into a new field. I know.
Right. But you know what these guys do? Here's the picture. I'll tell you right now. They're like, ooh, I should get into that business.
Yeah.
I'll make me some money. Or they're in the distributor and the sales guy's like, hey, how come you're not doing tile yet?
Yep.
And you're like, well, I just hadn't thought about it. Not a lot of my, and then he sweet talks you into it. And then next thing you know, you're shelling out a couple grand, 12, anywhere from like 2-3 grand for small stuff to maybe 10, 12 grand for some equipment, some machines to really do it right. And then you're like, do I really know how to use this, man? I don't want to go mess up the travertine. And so then you take some classes from IICRC. Shout out to them. They made up with ICR. So I'm going to be showing those guys both love for that. That was a big deal. But, it's, you go get some training, you hang out with some people for a couple days, you figure out how to do it right. And then you sit, you wait the phone to ring and they call you for carpet and you go clean the carpet. You don't talk to them about the tile. It's sitting in your truck and you're not talking about it. No, it's exactly the opposite. Make a huge deal about it. Make a big deal about the training that everyone got. Make a big deal about the new equipment and all the new services that you're going to be able to do for your clients. The value add. Then you invite those clients to some sort of event where you talk about that for half an hour and answer any questions they have about the service you provide.
I mean, that's upselling too. We always talk about the importance of upselling. That's something you've covered time and time again, countless times of upselling and being able to offer those services. And like you said, you clean someone's carpets. Oh, your tile's not looking too great.
Hey, you know what I just learned how to do? It's kind of cool. You know what? I would love to clean your tile just to practice. I'll give you a discount. And I just learned this. So I'm, you know me, I can do a good job. Bam, you got a tile job.
Every single job then turns into a sales opportunity, an upselling opportunity, and then the marketing associated with that. If you can get, it goes vice versa. If you are starting to do this other new service and you market that and someone calls you for that, then you can be like, oh, I've actually been cleaning carpets for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's my jam.
Yep.
And then you get that.
Done.
So it's just making it obvious, really putting it out there, using every single job as a sales opportunity. Now you don't want to like annoy customers, obviously, and be too salesy. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask it. And if you see a genuine need, I know a lot of guys, especially down in like Florida and like Houston, deep South kind of area, where everything needs pressure washed, constantly because it's so humid and gross.
Yeah.
It's like, there's all sorts of like, oh, your driveway's getting cleaned. Oh, your house isn't looking too great either.
That's
you
right.
probably don't want to say your house isn't looking too great, but it gives you those opportunities. And maybe if you do window cleaning as well, there you go.
All these
opportunities.
I can
endless.
see the email now. Jim, just finished with your driveway, and in the backdrop of your house, it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
You can have that one. That was off the top of my head.
there we go. Free, no charge.
Bring in the value.
Yep. All that value. Yeah. So that's I don't know what else we can cover with that. That's pretty much.
No, it's good. I think it gets the juices flowing, right?
Yeah.
Like we didn't give them huge amount of details. We can go through a whole example, but everybody's going to be a little bit different.
Yep.
And there's going to be that event that excites them. It's going to take 6 months to a year's worth of work. Or everybody pulling in and you're tracking all these little things, and then bam, when you drop the bomb, you want to make it a thing.
Yep.
And then draw as much attention as you can. We've got 200, what was it at now?
223.
223.
Yep.
So that's huge compared to what we had last time at this point. So go get signed up if you haven't been signed up yet. Again, August 15th, 5:00 p.m. Pacific.
Yep. And also, like we've been talking about, changes are happening, some of them before then.
Yeah, lots of
So
them.
if you want to get a little sneak peek in those changes, sign up if you haven't already.
Yeah, if you're a current client, there's going to be no better way to see all the things that we've got that we've just done for you.
Yep.
So come check that out too. Obviously, highly encourage clients to come.
Yeah, it's probably most applicable to them too, of kind of like
Portion of it. Yeah. I'm going to try to be, let's say 40 minutes. I'm going to try to make it 20 and 20, right?
Yeah.
Kind of who I'm focusing on.
Yeah.
But even the prospects, when I'm talking to the clients, they'll get the goods.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it's just really good stuff.
Benefits everyone. That's all I had. It was kind of a little bit of a shorter last minute thing. Adam
out sick.
Not feeling well.
I sent him home. He was looking kind of white.
He needed to go home.
Not be here.
He does a lot. He's an amazing guy.
Yep.
He needs to
Plus,
rest.
we want him at the party tomorrow.
Oh yeah, he's got to be there tomorrow.
He's gotta be there.
I told him I was gonna race him in the go-karts and I was gonna beat him. So
Go-karts and
I don't know,
putt golf all day.
Yep.
ServiceMonster
He might beat me in the
employees.
putt golf. I don't know. I can see him being good at that, but
Yep.
yeah.
Very good. Thanks for paying attention, guys. Make sure you check us out on all of your social media platforms. Until next time, and until August 15th, be safe.